My grandma Kvill was very special. I just always felt so fully loved by her every time she would say, I love you. Um, and of course, eating the most delicious food that you've ever had. Um, and I enjoyed cleaning out under her stairs with her. Um, she hand-me-down-did her craft supplies, and I still am using them today. I love you, Grandma.
I'm so lucky I had Grandma Queel as my kindergarten teacher, and I remember her room was so clean, handmade decorations everywhere, so comfy, and just a really, really warm place because of her for all of us. And the food she made, the cinnamon buns, the lefse, the Saskatoon pies from the Saskatoon bush in her backyard, and the grandma jam from the raspberries in her backyard. And she crocheted and she knitted, and she would show us patterns, and she would say, what colors would you like? And I would say the craziest color combinations. She never questioned me. She just went and found that color of yarn, and she made me all of these really cool objects. So I love you, Grandma Queel. Miss you.
My grandma Queel was so good and generous with bringing people together, and she would always host these giant family gatherings for Thanksgivings and Christmases with some of the best food you've ever eaten, and pie with homemade raspberry jam and vanilla ice cream for dessert. And we would occasionally bring some friends of our own, and she would welcome them in and just accept them as one of her grandchildren for the day, even though I'm sure it was very last minute a lot of the time. Love you, Grandma.
When I think of Grandma, I think of cinnamon buns on Christmas morning. I think of making biscuits, homemade, and spreading homemade jam, and picking raspberries for that homemade jam. I think of homemade food. And when I learned how to make bread for the first time with her, I felt the power of several generations of German foremothers with me as I was kneading the dough, and every time I make bread, I will think of her. And how secretly strong you have to be to make bread. Oh my God. When I think of Grandma, I think of being outside. I think of going on walks. I think of summers, and I think of campfires and camping and just sitting together quietly. So many memories of sitting on the floor as she sat in an armchair crocheting while watching Disney movies.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy, and if I had to pick just two memories of my lovely sweet grandma, or as I always like to call her, my grandmama, I would have to say that I will always remember the sweet and delicious cinnamon buns that she used to make for us every single morning during our lovely camping trips in the RV, as well as the gorgeous Afghan blankets that she made with loving care year after year. Grandma, I will always love you forever and for always, and I wish you all the best in this next stage of your journey.
When I was at Grandma's house, I loved listening to and reading the little read-along cassette tapes she had. I spent a lot of time reading those books, and she always just encouraged my love of reading and learning.
My favorite memory with Grandma is probably when I was little. I used to go to her house and I used to sometimes help her with gardening. So I would go pick vegetables or whatever. She used to have like this massive Saskatoon bush in her backyard that I would like picking from. And she would pick like about an ice cream pail of those. And when we got inside and she had washed them all, I would just eat them, and she'd be like, "Go eat those ones," because she wanted to use the ones that were in her ice cream pail for pies and stuff. It's probably my favorite memory.